Okay, let's go over the answers for exercise 6.5, part 1. Lovely computer problem. All right, so for number 1, I'll write these down. For number 1, if K is false but the wedge is true, that means that D has to be true because it requires one side to be true for the wedge to be true. Now for number 2, if Q is, let's see, we're looking for unknown. So if the horseshoe is true, boy, we don't know anything about Q or N. They could both be true, or one could be true and one could be false. There's a whole bunch, there's 3 different combinations there. So for number 2, there's nothing logically determinable. Now for number 3, the only way for that triple bar to be true is when both sides match. So if you tell me that D is false but the triple bar is true, that means that B has to also be false for number 3. Now for number 4, if you tell me that that horseshoe is true when G is true, that means that I don't know anything about N. N is, who knows, it could be true, it could be false. Either way, this horseshoe is going to be true. Okay, so for number 5, now, number 5, if the B is false while that horseshoe is true, that means that S has to be true. There's no way for that. That's the only thing S could be. Otherwise, the horseshoe would be false. All right, now for 6, if the dot is true, then there's only one way for that dot to be true, and that's when both K is true and B is true. Okay, so for number 7, if you tell me the wedge is true but A is false, that means that C has to be true. And then for number 8, if you tell me the triple bar is true, I don't know anything about S and E except that they match. They're either both true or they're both false, but I don't know which. So there's nothing I can determine with for number 8. Okay. For number 9, if you tell me that the horseshoe is true and that the left-hand side, M, is true, that means that R has got to be true, because if it were false, then the horseshoe would be false, but we're being told the horseshoe is true. All right, and for number 10, if you tell me H is true and the wedge is true, I don't know anything about J. That could be either true or false. The wedge is still going to be false. All right?